Everybody got a hot flash. They're all coming in. Okay, well, let's do this. As people are coming in, we are starting our hot flash workshop right now. Tanya and I have a good game for you. Get ready, get your chat ready. If you recognize this song, let me know. I want to, if you remember hearing this song for the first time, I want you to say yes or thumbs up in the comments. So give me 1 second. Let me get it. And this is gonna be mine, and I'm gonna get another one ready for you. Wait, no, that's not it. Hold on. All right. If you remember this song, and you remember hearing it for the first time, put it in the comments, yes or no. All right. If you remember hearing this song for the first time, that was for Push It. If you remember hearing that for the first time when it came out, put yes. If you remember hearing this song for the first time, all right. Mario says yes. For the first time, meaning when it came out, not when it hit your radio. Just on the scroll. All my jams. Thank you, Rhonda. Okay, so if you heard Push It for the first, when it first was released, you are in at least perimenopause. If you heard Cruel Summer, you are somewhere near menopause are going through it. So congratulations to you. Super fun. So we're going to be talking about that today. So the purpose of today's recording, these are new workshops for us that Tanya and I have been chatting about. And I really believe that this is our population at WholeFit. And there is a lot of conversations, a lot of questions, a lot of discouragement, and then there's that people have, and then there's just a lot of bad information out there when it comes to perimenopause, menopause. What do we do about it? Is it a doom and gloom situation? So that's what we're going to kind of just introduce it today, and just chat with you about it. And we're going to do more of these. So we want to hear from you in the comments. Please make sure you stay muted, because if not, you are going to be seen and heard during this, because we are going to post this throughout our whole entire social media. These are the only, this week and next week, and the only two that we're going to share publicly, because we have some really good information and exciting things coming up with WholeFit that we want to share with you. So I'm going to hand it over to Tanya, and Tanya is going to share with us. Tanya, when do you remember experiencing any symptoms with perimenopause, menopause? What was that like? Feel free to.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? Everybody good? So yeah, I remember, so I have 3 children, and I had my last baby when I was 31. And I remember kind of going into my 30s, I think you're so busy with raising children during that time, you don't notice as much, but definitely coasting into late 30s, early 40s. Definitely noticing that I am the warmest person in the room. And if you guys have been in any of my classes, y'all know I'm like, is it hot in here? Are you hot? Are you good? So my husband calls it my thermostat was just broken. So I was definitely like the warmest person around. I won't say the hottest person. I'll just say the warmest person around. So definitely noticing a change in my body temperature that was just abnormal compared to everyone else I was with. Definitely anxiety. I had everything that I had always done to stay less anxious. Those things were not working as well. So I was having to really step up my game with helping control anxiety within my body, depression, that sort of thing. So of course, yoga came along, and that's been a great help. My energy level, definitely noticed energy was kind of waxing and waning. Noticed my cycles were more irregular, or I'd skip a month altogether, but I was still having all the hormonal fluctuations. It just was just a lot of up and down. And hot flashes. Hot flashes and night sweat started kicking in. So in addition to having all the usual like PMS stuff the week before your cycle, I was also having hot flashes. So that's super fun. And sometimes y'all been with me, I'm in the middle of class, I might have a hot flash, and I'm like, just let you all know that it's happening. So definitely 30s into 40s. I'm 51 now. I'm still perimenopausal, but it's just been going on a really long time. And so Jen and I were talking, seeking out resources together, and we're so excited that as a group, we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be fleshing this out, not flashing it out, fleshing it out. And, having good information come y'all's way.
Thank you. Yeah. So some of you, and feel free to put in the chats if you resonate with any of our, like Tanya's symptoms and mine. I noticed, and some of you probably were at my 40th birthday party at Whole Fit. Jer threw that surprise birthday party. I remember in that season, it also was COVID time. So we're coming out of COVID. And so I just didn't know if I was like just anxious because of that. Am I depressed? It could have been a little bit of that as well. But I just remember thinking something is wrong in my body, like something's changing. I don't understand. This is not, I remember crying to my doctor, this is not who I am. Like I don't wake up and feel sad all the time, or why is my anxiety through the roof? And that was the beginning of noticing perimenopause. Like I started hitting it. I remember it started then, but looking back, I started getting night sweats at mid 30s. So I remember just Jeremy touching me in bed going, "Do you have a fever?" It's just like soaking wet. It wasn't a hot flash, it was just night sweats, just gross. And so that's when I started noticing it, and just going to the doctor, having some blood work done, and her confirming, yeah, you are in it. So that's super fun. But also, when reading about perimenopause and menopause and going through the certification, I was just like, okay, I am not alone. And hearing from you ladies, I don't know about you, but or Tanya, you can speak into this too, is that we talk a lot about puberty. Like we've had a lot of information about that. And the only thing I knew about this stage of life was anger and hot flashes. Like that's it. And there's so much more involved, like the anxiety rising, the cortisol levels through the roof. One thing to tuck away is, your cortisol levels are higher when you wake up in the morning, and they should be down when you're going to bed. And now, as in this age season of life, our cortisol levels are through the roof at night. And that is why we're having a hard time going to sleep, getting that deep sleep. So if you're not getting sleep, that plays not only on your hormones, but just life, right? Like you tend to want to eat crappier food and lashing out and all these things. And I think I can share this story. I know I can share the story. It's my story. But poor Jeremy. Let's all say prayers for Jeremy. So I noticed something wasn't right when I was trying to put a plant in a macrame hanger thing in my window, and it just wouldn't go in. And I just remember just shaking it and just going like, and just like this rage out of nowhere. And I was like, and then I just started crying. I'm like, I don't know why I'm mad. And I'm mad that I'm mad. And I'm mad that I'm crying about this. And Jared kind of like, he's brushing his teeth and he's like, looks around the corner and he goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong." I'm like, so he goes, "I feel like you're turning into me. Like you're getting like meaner and I'm getting kinder." And I was like, at that moment, I'm like, you know what? I love you very much, but I don't think that's the greatest thing to say. So anyway, so I don't know if you guys resonate with this, but we're gonna chat about when does it start, what does it look like, what it could look like, and all that good stuff. Tanya, do you want to add anything to that before we move on?
No, I'm giggling under my breath here because that was like us last week. Like, why are you so mad? My husband Mike is such a treasure, but he's like, why are you so mad? You okay? You okay? And same thing. I need to warm my hands. I just put them next to you. You're so warm. I'm like, quit making fun of me. This is not fun.
So
So yeah, I'm like, why? And then having anxiety about my anxiety. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I'm anxious about being anxious. Like, and I'm embarrassed that I can't get this under control. So yeah, I can relate. I can relate totally. So, yes.
So also, so Tanya can relate. If you guys, when it comes to this season of life, put in the comments, how do you feel? Does it feel like a doom and gloom? Do you feel like Is there not enough information? Like, we want to hear from you, because if hearing from you is going to help us. So anytime that we're asking questions, like, please give us feedback, because it helps us to know where you are. We don't want to just be dumping stuff out there and you're like, yeah, I don't, that doesn't relate. And we know not all the things are going to relate to everybody. But for some, confusing. I'm going to add in there overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming. Tons of info, but need the right kind of info curated into practical form. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. Well, keep putting them in there. And what symptoms have you noticed? I would love to hear from you. Like, what symptoms have you noticed in this season of life? I'm going to block the chat so I can read from my notes over here, but I'm going to just break down just practically what menopause is. And for some people, like, yeah, we know, but let's just go to basics. We always want to start with basics and foundation. Menopause is the period of life starting from the decline in ovary activity until after the end of ovarian function. This includes perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Um, Perimenopause, a lot of people don't even realize they're in it. They just focus on menopause and we think this is what it is. But perimenopause is what, Tanya and I were talking about, like mid 30s. You can start hitting perimenopause as early as your mid 30s. And that's when I look back, I'm like, okay, that's what was happening. That's what's going on. So basically it's mid 30s to late 40s, you can begin perimenopause. It can start as early 30s. Everybody is different. Everybody's body is different. The average age of menopause is 51. Here are some interesting facts about menopause. Black and Hispanic women, on average, reach menopause by 49. Black women also take longer to transition to menopause and appear to experience longer periods of irregular bleeding. Japanese women tend to suffer the least amount of time, 4.8 years. Non-Hispanic white women's symptoms can last up to 6.5 years. Hispanic women 8.9 years, and Black women 10 years or more. So it depends on your race as well, but also researchers have shown that everybody's body's different. So just because it says that, it doesn't mean it's for you. So some people have reached full menopause before 51 or after 51. So, and menopause, all that means is you did not have a period for a full 12 months. No period, like for a whole entire year. I have a friend, bless, she got to 11 months. She's like, Jenn, I think I'm done. And then she got her period. She's like, are you kidding me? So that's actually late perimenopause. So some of you may have had that happen. You're like, what is going on? Just, I know it's a womp, but it's a full 12 months of no cycle. So with perimenopause, it marks, I'm gonna go over some symptoms, some things that you may have noticed. So this perimenopause is marking the transition towards menopause. And again, nobody's different. It depends on, I can't say it's going to last this long. I don't know. Again, our bodies are made differently. So during this time, you may notice, I wish I had some music playing for this. You guys get all the gifts like Oprah. You get hormonal changes. You get subtle changes in your menstrual cycle. Estrogen will fluctuate, ladies, and progesterone is going to decline. This is going to be one of the most stressful times in your life, they say. I'm trying to make it exciting. You're going to be more sensitive to fat storage from food and stress. Notice what's in there: stress. When your progesterone drops, your estrogen becomes dominant. That's actually happening to me right now. And you will end up with more of that fight flight activity rather than the rest or digest. You will notice night sweats, hot flashes, brain fog, weight distribution, especially in the belly area. So I thought it was interesting. What stood out to me was that fight flight activity. So I don't know if you ladies have noticed that, like your responses is like, I'm becoming more of a reactor than a responder. And it's like, bleh. And I'm like, Lord, what? Please help me with that. I don't, what is coming out of my mouth? What is going on? Like, It kind of feels like my emotions are ruling right now. Have you noticed, Tanya, like any of those or speaking into that? What would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a yoga instructor, like one of the big things that I love to guide y'all through is shifting from that fight or flight mode into a rest or digest mode. And we actually call that like our tend and befriend mode within our bodies. So yeah, like, and especially if I'm running late or there's an unusual stressor in my life that day, I can feel like I'm in that fight or flight mode. And I'm like, I desperately need to take my own medicine today. And practice what I preach and take those cleansing breaths and some gentle movement and move back into that rest and digest mode. Because again, tend and befriend. I mean, I want to do that to my body, and we want to bring that cortisol level down, and we want to work with what we have. And that's hard when your anxiety feels high and your brain's not functioning exactly how it is. And we're going to talk about that
Mm-hmm.
in January, which is going to be so exciting. Like, what is actually happening within your brain, and the hope that we have, the big hope we have, but the hope that we have that we
Yeah.
are going to get through this together. So
Yeah.
yeah, I relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that what you just said, hope. Like
Yeah.
we don't, I know that I love all the funny reels and like this is me on perimenopause, like stuff like that. And just to know like this is a season, like, okay, like I'm really having to lean in. Not that I didn't lean into God before, but I'm like, God, I can't, I need you to help me because I feel kind of wonky and I don't know what to do. Can you please help me? Like this, remember holistically, mind, body, and soul. Like God is bigger than perimenopause. God is bigger than menopause. He knows he's created our bodies. I do got a lot of questions though when I see him, but like I know that like the strength that he gives me every single day, he's going to help with this. So I want to encourage you guys as well. Like, don't let the enemy get in your ear that this is a doom and gloom situation. And like um, Tanya was saying, in January we're going to be talking more about things that God has given us that will help. That's early menopause, ladies. Are you ready for some more Oprah? I'm gonna get really excited. Late perimenopause, I'm gonna throw some more things at you. This usually is officially defined as 3 to 11 months without a period. So early perimenopause, mid 30s, early 40s. Now this is late perimenopause. Like my friend, kind of get into like the 11th month, and all of a sudden I had another period. During this time, your loss of E2, I estradiol, I always say it wrong, making estrone as your primary estrogen. So basically, there's two parts. One is declining, one is rising up. Loss of progesterone, reduce sensitivity to exercise and protein, increase visceral and intramuscular fat, decrease bone mineral density. So this is near later perimenopause. Um, with the menopause stage, and again, that menopause, if you're truly in menopause, that means you have not had a cycle within for a period of 12 months. During this time, you may see a shift of fat to the belly. I'll be honest with you, I've already started seeing that shift. I'm not even menopause, and I've seen that happening. I hear a lot of women. I think I saw in the chat here somewhere like how that fat is clinging. I'm also seeing what else we got. Um, Irregular cycle, inflammation, joint pain. Yes, less able to focus. Those are all signs. So researchers have shown that women have an increase of 44% of deep belly fat during this time. That is high. 44%. And another big role that plays into that is stress. So we're going to dive in deeper into this in our challenge group, but want to be sharing with you that typically, what do we typically do, and put in the chat when you're like, oh my goodness, I'm getting a belly. Oh my goodness, what's happening? I'm gaining weight. What do we typically want to do? What's like our first reaction with working out? Feel free to put in the chat. Like, what comes to your mind? I know for a lot what I hear. Like, well, Tanya, what would you say? What do you hear, or what? Or maybe have you ever experienced that where you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would think as far as like when I noticed I was going through perimenopause or having perimenopause symptoms, what was working no longer worked. Like exercising more, eating less. I mean, to you get to a point like, how much less can I eat and how much more can I exercise? And then you're actually creating more inflammation in the body. And we're going to talk about that, exercising smarter and not harder. But I just noticed that what I used to do wasn't working. You know, I could skip dessert for a week and I'm like, well, I'll lose 5 pounds. Now I can like look at dessert and feel like I'm probably gaining that
Mhm.
belly fat. I mean, it's just your body, it's just like navigating a completely different body. And I was talking with a girlfriend last week and she said it almost feels like your body has betrayed you. So yeah, like, and the go-to tactic, if I'm going to exercise more and eat less, that's not going to work long term anymore, or
Mhm.
short term, really. And we're going to
Mhm.
talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. And some people are saying I feel defeated when yeah, like what you're saying, when the things I've done don't work. Yeah, I remember having that conversation with Jeremy. I'm like, I have nothing has changed. My workouts are the same. I'm eating the same foods. What is going on? And again, looking back, that was the beginning stages of perimenopause. So even though menopause is going to ramp that up, I see this happening before. And so and stress, as we said, the cortisol levels are high at night. And can I just say, most of us during the season of life, God love her, my mother, Lord forgive me. I remember looking back when I was a teenager, I thought my mom was losing her mind. And now I'm like, oh, she wasn't losing her mind. She was going through perimenopause. That's what's happened. So you have like this perfect storm of my kids are staying up later. I'm not getting sleep. My kids want to eat junk food and fast food. They're on the go with sports, or we're on the go with this, and I really shouldn't be eating that. I should, so it's like this perfect. They're all going through hormonal stuff, and I'm going through hormonal stuff. It's glorious. Some other things you may notice is the brain chemistry changes, decreases, causing mood swings and brain fog. Brain fog is huge. It's more, for me, it's more than just walking in a room and I'm like, why am I here? What did I come in here for? I will literally be staring at Tanya, trying to think of Tanya's name, being like, what is her name? I know her name. She's my good friend. We work together. And it's just like this, you're stuck, and it's so frustrating. Low energy levels, vaginal dryness, pain, thinning of the vaginal wall. Receptors for estrogen and progesterone are all over your body. So your symptoms have a full body effect. Mm-hmm. And this and postmenopause just includes everything after menopause until the end of your life. And this is where this is very alarming to me as I read these, because after menopause, the post, it's during this time that risk of chronic disease such as cancer and cardiovascular disease flares up. It jumps big time. Your HDL cholesterol seems less protective, while LDL goes up due to loss of estrogen. Without your sex hormones, you become more carbohydrate sensitive and have a hard time building and holding muscle. So, what I don't want you hearing is womp 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 womp. Like Tanya, we were chatting about. It's not all. There's hope, and that's what we want to. We just want to kind of just bring awareness to, like, guys. When I read this and when I was going through my certification, I told Tanya, all I kept hearing was intentional, intentional. This season of life, I'm gonna say some things like, and grace for every season, guys. Life will happen. You know how we encourage you to show up and be you and who God's created you to be. We're not running away from that. But during this season, it's intentionality. What you ate in your 20s is not, like, if you like, I could eat the pizza and the dessert every single night or whatever that was, it is going to affect you in this season of life, not just your body, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, it's all connected. And so it's just going to be some tweaking, and we want to share with you how to do that in a safe and effective way. What are things that help fuel the body, help level those hormones as much as possible, to build your lean muscle mass while your fat will decrease. But yeah, Tanya, do you want to speak into that? Like,
Yeah. As you're talking, I didn't want to interrupt you because I was like, oh, this is so good. But I wrote down, you being intentional, there is hope. And I wrote down, knowledge is power.
yeah,
Knowledge is power. Like, we know our power, capital P power, we know where that comes from. But we also know that accumulating this good knowledge and the good resources we have for you guys that we're going to share with you, that is our power. I'm like, I know what I need to do to be in this stage of life and to armor up effectively, right? Spiritually, mentally, physically. And yeah, I used to love the late night pizza and dessert. I can't do that anymore. It's not going to make you feel good. It's probably going to cause some inflammation. So we're going to talk about what works and what doesn't work. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And if you
Knowledge
guys
power.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions, put them in the chat. Things that when it comes to perimenopause, if you could actually, if you have a moment, just put them in there right now. What do you want us to talk about? And we're going to discuss next week's topic. But again, going back to it's not doom and gloom. There are things that you can put in your life that are going to help fight against it. Research is amazing. I've been reading about case studies of women who have implemented these practices in their life, and it is helping them in a tremendous way through perimenopause and menopause. And I just want you also to remember your freedom. This isn't about controlling. Like, I got to control and do all these things because I can get like that real quick. Like, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and it's going to equal this. Remember, I just want to steward my body well. I want to know what foods are going to help me heal my body, help my body through the season of life. Like, I want, if there are things out there that will help me, because God's called me to whole fit. God's called me to this community. God's called me to my family. Like I don't, my heart for this too is to encourage you. I know Tanya as well. Like, we want to encourage you in this season. Like, it's not doom and gloom, and that you don't have to throw in the towel. And I just want to share, I'm going to throw this in because I saw this recently between a 60-year-old and an 80-year-old. Okay. So if you want to know if this works, it works. The 60-year-old does not take care of her body at all. The 80-year-old still moves and exercises, not anything intense, but she's moving. She could keep up with us and do all the activities, all the things, engage with the family, and the 6-year-old could barely go 3 feet without getting winded and had to sit down. Mm-hmm. 20 years difference. And I want to encourage you with that. No matter what season you're in right now, it's not too late to start. Like, the 6-year-old could start and see changes. And it's just neat how God's created our body, that these things that he gives us, these tools and resources that he gives us, like, it helps us to strengthen mind, body, and soul. So I just wanted to share that because I don't want you guys feeling like, oh, it's too late. It's not too late. It's never too late. Tanya, do you want to wrap up this, tell them about next week and what's coming?
Or you want me to wrap up the hot flash? I started the hot flash. I'm going to wrap up.
Yeah, wrap up the hot flash. I think we have to end it with a hot flash question.
I didn't have one in the middle yet. Well, there's still time. Okay, so next week we're going to do the same thing. Next week we're going to be talking about debunking myths about perimenopause and menopause, and there's a lot of them. We talked about how there's some just bad information out there, and there's a lot of good stuff as well. We're going to dive into that. And then our Age with Grace group sign up opens today. So this will be our small group, our special group that we're going to have for January going into February, a 4-week challenge group. And it's just going to be, I keep thinking of sacred space. It's going to be a very special space. I think we can gather together. So that sign up starts today. So we're so excited to open that up to you guys. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna end it with a hot flash question. I'm gonna ask Tanya. She does not know what's coming at her.
Oh no.
I think a lot of people do. Well, let me just say this: do yogis? You as a yogi, do you strength train? And when I'm talking about strength train, it's not your dumbbells are a certain color. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's right in front of me. I didn't know you were going to ask me this, but look. So today I was using my 10s for bicep curls, and then hang on, in the middle of my workout, I was like, oh, I think I can move to 15s today. So guess what? Yes, I strength train 3 to 4 days a week. Yeah, absolutely. And that we're going to talk about that, why that is so key moving into this fun age and stage. So yes, I do strength train.
Yes. I wanted to ask her that because a lot of people think that Tanya is Miss Namaste, rest and digest all the time. We need it. We're going to talk about it. But Tanya can lift some weight, people. And she's been working on this for quite some time. And she's going to be sharing how it has transformed, not just physically, but helped her,
It
mentally and
has. I
yeah.
remember, I mean, Jen, I don't know if you remember, I was in one of your classes where you were doing strength training, and I started strength training probably 3 or 4 years ago. And this was a little prior to that. And I was like, Jen, I don't even know when you say moderate weight, I don't even know what you mean. What is that to me? I'm just starting out. And you were so gracious. And you're like, okay, here's where you start. And I picked a variety of weights. And yes, I started with the little pink weights. I did. But
Gotta
now
start
I'm
somewhere.
now I'm lifting big. And over here, I had to buy a 35 a few weeks ago, y'all. Like I need heavier weight to lift. I'm like, this is great. So you were very gracious helping me into
Yeah.
that. All right, you ready for my question for you?
Sure.
Because I think I know the answer. What is your favorite lunch?
Oh, my favorite lunch. Oh yeah,
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 I
yeah.
think
I
you
know
think
it.
weight
I know
training.
you know this answer. The buffalo chicken.
Yeah.
Isn't that what? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, buffalo chicken with a sweet potato and broccoli drizzle with the Trader Joe's ranch on top. Ugh, it's my favorite. She knows. Oh man, you made that for me one time, didn't you?
I
Or,
think I did it. It was on I think I did it with tofu. We were trying to, and chickpeas, like we were doing like a
yeah,
high carb day. So did it a little different, but yeah, I'm with you too. I love a good like protein grain veggie
yeah,
bowl. We're going to be talking about that
yeah.
too. And it's just, you
And
feel
yeah,
good.
I mean, if you would have told me I was eating that much at a lunchtime, I've been like, no way, I can't do that. That's so much fear. That was so fearful. And like now I'm like, no, I need to be eating that good high
Yeah.
protein
Yeah.
lunch. So well, thank you guys for being here with us. We'll be here next Monday at noon, and I hope this was helpful. At least kick it off a little bit. And again, if you're watching the replay later, put in the comments anything you want to share or add, or you want us to talk about, address. Again, that helps us. So, you guys have a great day. Bye.
Bye.